Yeah, he going live. What? Did it? You caught off. But you live, you know that?
I'm just getting back home now.
Go ahead, quem faz bien, amigo.
Awesome.
No, I can't go in live. Don't come bien.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Vote 24 TV. This is Keys Dialogue. Today we are going to be discussing the issue that has taken over the entire country. The arrival of 137 pieces of earth-moving equipment, which we usually yellow machines. And we want to look at what it is for our trade and how it's our development process. So
Will you
I
breaking?
have,
What's going on? You
yeah.
breaking? The internet cracking.
Oh my God.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, Let me make sure I know that.
Mm-hmm. The Oppo is cracking.
Yeah, let me make sure that. But you can go ahead, Udi.
No, you gotta let the premise. You just said we on some technical break to readjust our set, and we'll be right back to discuss the yellow machine that just came into the country. 137 pieces of yellow machine. It's a topic of discussion today. A lot of Liberians waiting this topic. And what is the good and the bad about this machine, and what is the advantage and the disadvantage for the government, and what development impact the yellow machine will have on our economy in terms of job creation or in terms of opening up new infrastructure, in terms of opening the country up to new roles and other development that we can use the yellow machine to undertake. But I would turn up back to my senior moderator and Mr. Booty Hera. Is
We clear
yeah,
now. I'm clear.
yeah, you are clear. So I will turn
Oh,
it back
okay.
to
Yeah. So yeah,
yeah.
we know. Uh, yeah. So there is a sensation about the yellow machine in the town, and everybody is happy and jubilating, for the arrival of the yellow machine. But the whole yellow machine issue was a tall order. So we are going to look at the yellow machine arrival and see how we can make our input with respect to the benefit that we can be able to derive from the yellow machine. So firstly, I don't know. I want to play a commentary on the arrival of the yellow machine that we got from the Facebook. Uh, Let me play this commentary. Let's see. Hmm.
Do you work on the people to the Kaki dialogue?
Yeah, so we'd like to welcome every one of you, our Liberian people in the diaspora and in Morovia. We want to welcome you to the Kakis Dialogue. The Kakis Dialogue is the Kamar Abdullah Kamar Intellectual Dialogue, and here we try to make reason of some of the issues that we find in our political space. Some of the issues we find in our political space, we try to rationalize them on the Kakis Dialogue. So you are all welcome to join the Kakis Dialogue if you have the mind of not sticking to a particular political dogma, and you are keen on discussing issues around Liberia and finding a common ground towards it. Then you are welcome to the Kaki Dialogue so that we can share our views on national development and policy issues. So let me play for you some of the happenings in Morovia, and we can take it on from there. Oh, I don't know whether. Oh, I'm not finding a particular clip. Yes, but Commander Orlando Jones, what do you make of the arrival of the earth-moving equipment by the Joseph Barker administration?
Oh, thank you, Senior Moderator, Mr. Willie Harold, for welcoming me to the Kaki Dialogue. Um, you know, our Liberian politics is, I, I would say, I would not call it Liberian politics for right now. I would call it um, the environment in Liberia is so toxic that every time when government make a move, it can be interpreted in different format. What are the moves in the interest of the people, or what are the moves is questionable, and a lot of you know commentators around the country and people are going to interpret it the way they view it, depending on which side of the divide they find themselves. And in recent Liberian politics, there's two groups that are being so feminine in our politics. What it say, the blue revolution and the green revolution, whether CDC or UPACE. And what are even CDC is making some headlines in developing the country in the during the 6 year regime, and Unity Party people will give it its own understanding and development. I still remember when and let me sidetrack before I go to the yellow machine. I still remember when Judge Guya undertook the two major park, the visible park and one of the park down there. There were a lot of interpretation while that development was going on. And party people interpret that development in their own direction to sway the political aspect. So coming to the present issue right now, so not taking side on the issue, Liberian government has some misstep in acquiring this yellow machine, and they were on their feet were on fire to bring the yellow machine because they came up with some price tag that the Liberian people never think it was possible for them to bring in the yellow machine. And it was how many millions of dollars they call. I can't remember the figures, but it was about $50 million to bring 250 pieces of yellow machine. And the way the executive mansion was involved in some advisor, the executive mansion, bringing in yellow machine, and it it went, CDC capitalized on it, and it was so political, and 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 the president got the vice president involved to redo the entire process. I still follow the process, and I still remember the vice president made a trip to China and to renegotiate the price because the first price tag was very alarming. And the Liberian people and other political commentators from the CDC angle, and they make politics out of it. Whether that move was in the interest of the country, that F moving machine coming in, yellow machine, it was in the interest, but the press was alarming and everybody was questioning the price tag around the yellow machine. Now, I think the vice president, Honorable His Excellency Jeremiah Bakum, make some headway, went to China, and now you can see some of his product of your work. And I know over the weekend, you look at Facebook and all of the government publicity and Facebook, people will showcase the new yellow machine that arrived. And according to the report, they say 137 pieces arrived. Now, I don't know the new price tag, the new negotiation on Jeremiah Bakun that led that delegation to China. And now you can see it on social media and the political angle how what are the yellow machine that came to the country was in the interest of the Liberian people because they try to link it where we improve the bread and butter. It went back to the bread and butter issue. What yellow machine would do. Eh? People don't have job, and if we're going to create job for people, and the government should use the money to do something else and create the atmosphere or the economy to improve the economy. So people on the other side, so I want to say everything in Liberia is in we always in a fighting mood in the political gear and what are things to move. But yes, the positive side of things I like to focus on. Our country is not open up to infrastructures and roads. Any government bringing in yellow machine, and we know exactly they're going to be used for opening up our countries and roads and developments. And most of our leeward country, and most especially in the southeast, is inaccessible during the rainy season time. And usually during the rainy season time, Liberia, what they're doing political activity and election around October, that time you know that Liberia is a very small, big global is a village that people can is unable to reach their own county. So bringing in yellow machine because I can go back to public work in the past when during the Toba regime and the Dole regime, people were able to reach to some leeward country during the rain season time in record time, maybe in the daytime. But then after the war, most of our roads were damaged because of poor maintenance. And one of the things the rescue mission promised during the campaign, like I think some people made fun of it when Joseph Walker said the first 100 days that he will make sure no car is stuck in the mud. And the I think the rescue mission is following the political promise because yellow machine and all the F moving machine going to be, I still remember when they were taking it down from the port on Lowenden. I can see they put some of tag on it for
Let,
county. You can see
let me
ground,
let me play the clip.
yeah, yeah, Grand Coup County. This one go in Grand Coup. Yeah, play the tape. So I think that's some positive about it. Yeah, so you can play the tape that the Liberian people see.
All right, cool. Yeah, live already. Yes, that'd be refreshing. You see. Folks, good afternoon and thanks for joining us briefly. So yes, we're here already at the free port of Monrovia, and what you're looking at is the vessel bringing to Liberia over 130 some more pieces of earth-moving equipment that are part of the 285 yellow machines that are being procured by the government of Liberia to improve infrastructure across the country, most precisely road construction and maintenance. Amongst these equipment where I stand currently, I'm not only looking at yellow machines, of course, but I'm also seeing amongst them, I'm seeing trucks. I'm seeing trucks amongst the machines. I'm seeing excavator, and you can name the rest. And so we've been informed by the authorities here at the free port of Monrovia, over 137 of them, or over 130 or more of them, are arriving on board the SJ Singapore vessel here at the free port of Monrovia. So wherever watching from, joining us from, we'd like to say thanks for joining us and thanks for watching. My name is Anthony Williamson. I'm here with my
Billy, are you on? You mute that. You mute that, Willie. Billy, you mute that. Can't hear you. Can't hear you. Yeah,
All
you
right.
mute that.
So there is it. The evidence is clear. The yellow machines dock on the free port of Monrovia and 137 pieces. This is a jubilant time for Liberia, but as we always said, we cannot jubilate too much because Liberia has a history of bringing in equipment, but Liberia does not have a good history of Liberia does not have a good record of maintaining anything. So we have to also consider in our action moving forward, what are the plans put in place for the maintenance and operationalization of those equipments? And good. We have a structure in place already that they call the Yellow Machine Board of Administration, I think. And that board has the Minister of Public Works on it, but the administrative head is Brani Samuka. So we have that structure already in place. That's the first step in ensuring that the machines are going to be placed to work and be maintained in the best way possible. But we have to be sure that the structure is properly organized and there is guarantee for the machines to be maintained properly. We are not going to be part of the people who will sit on the table and do all of the necessary planning, but our little voice outside, especially on these media platforms, and our recommendations that we can make, one or two persons will listen to it and maybe try to take it on the table and see how we can have this machine for a very long period of time, and how the sustainability plan can also incorporate compensating for the amount of money that we spend to bring in those machines. So the machines are here already, and it's so impressive. And I remember in 2016, right? 2016, the elections. 2017, yeah, 2017 elections. I remember Joseph Boakai platform was on road, and road. So he said the first priority is road, the second priority is road, the third priority is road, and he tried to build a connection between road and all of the other things that Liberians uh, talk about. We want to see how that is, really connected, and what how that is built upon. But it is a very good step moving forward that we have those equipments on ground and that we are going to put them to the best use possible. Come Jones.
Yeah, thank you, senior moderator on the Kakidala, Mr. Budiera. But I want to focus my attention, every time when government makes inroads in pushing the development agenda, you have critics. But sometimes it's good to look at it from the positive direction, because you just said it, that the unity-led government and the campaign promises that it made to the people, and Honorable Excellency Joseph Boakai, he said his focus will be on roads in his 2017 and campaign during the first time he ran for president. And when he came back the second time, he came up with a rest agenda. The rest agenda have roads, and they try to undertake this project by bringing in Yellow Machine. But let me focus on the advantage of Yellow Machine, because we have to backtrack on what Liberia development and in the past and other leaders were doing to maintain roads. And when we go, well, what we can say normal days in during the Toba regime and the Dole regime, people were able to travel from Monrovia to the southeast. The difficult, I'm not saying there was no difficulty, but the difficulty was less than after the war, after the post-war. Roads after the post-war were deplorable. That the country, half of the country during the rain season time is not accessible. You cannot get to the southeast, even Lofa, the north part of the country. So some of the regimes make some inroads, like that road to Ganta. People used to leave from Ganta and leave Monrovia very early, and that road was damaged. I think the early regime was over to pave the road from here to Ganta and then pave the road from here to Buchanan. They make some road. Joe Weah government and started the road to Rabafi. It's an ongoing project because government is continuing to, and they're moving that project. The Joseph Worker government is moving that project. Yes, the advantage. The southeast is a challenge, and the north part of the country is a challenge. And even just a shorter place to get to, like the Bowater side, the Cape Mine, the Bapolu, and the bombing, it's a challenge. And you see how traffic around the Morovia area because of people build a lot of makeshift thing on the road. So that F moving machine going to help to buttress government effort maintaining road because in the past public work, and they had another ministry. I think that ministry is canceled. Rural development. It used to be rural development. I don't know you know about rural development. Rural development and roads, eh? I think that's what that ministry was. And they had like a hub station to many counties. And this hub station was had road maintenance hub station and during the rain season time, they have people workers there from public works and the rural development people opening the roads for people to access the country. So those F moving machine can be set up public work and that you just said that they set up a board or a commission to maintenance because the maintenance thing is another aspect because any process that you initiate and for for people to reap the benefit in the future, they have to be and structured it and put together in a way that people will maintain that for a long period of time. So, but I want to focus on the positive initiative first. That positive initiative started from this government, bringing in yellow machine. The other aspect, it's good that people is worried about maintaining the machine because they don't want the development to die because that's a huge investment. The government are they paying millions of dollars to bring that the machine in. And the other aspect of it, I think that will be job created because you go to public work. I still remember, and when in Morovia, that people graduated from University of Liberia, engineer, no work. You go to public work, people, public work in Morovia on West Street on Lynn Street. I used to see people playing checker. They're sitting around, no work to do because the government don't have money to develop roads. No, some of the workers will
So,
be saying
Comrade
the lead
June,
work can't work.
I
And
want for us to
yeah,
do something, right?
yeah,
Yes, before this, I mean, when the government came in, there were controversy with regards to this yellow machine.
yeah,
Firstly, the president, somebody announced that the yellow machine was coming, and then there was this issue and bickering. There
hmm,
was uh, contradictory statements. The
yeah,
president said the yellow machine was a gift from his friend. And then part of the yellow machine came to the country, but then the government could not agree with the vendor. Apparently, they were charging too much, and the government could not agree with the vendor. And those yellow machines, I don't know, but at one point in time, we saw, a video clip of those yellow machines moving from a particular destination to another. Now, the interesting thing that we have to uh, look back on is that when they announced the yellow machine, 285 yellow machines, they announced that it will cost something like $85 million. So
hmm,
I want you to talk about that a little bit.
yeah. So that's that. I think in my initial comment I mentioned the process and a lot of political commentators and analysts when the press staff were announced for the 285 yellow machine, people were not certified because what happened, I still remember, someone in the president office was involved with the process. I don't know what's her name, and it's a lady in the president office. I don't know it's a guy name. I know.
Mamaka ability.
It's a guy, eh? It's an individual, Maka ability. I think the person is an
That's a
advisor.
lady. That's a lady.
It's a lady. She's
Yeah,
an
Mama
advisor
ability.
on economic affairs. She's an
Yeah.
advisor. Yeah. So, and you are muted, and she was highly involved in the process. So people analyze the price tag, and that's what responsible government does. When the public outcry, although they have some political undertone from the CDC, and most of them were raising the alarm about the price tag, and people think that some foul play in this process or now well work up through the national legislature because the contract was just announced and somebody from the president office who's the advisor was highly involved. So the president, Excellency Joseph Walker Liston, former committee headed by the vice president. I still remember some part of last year, and I monitored the vice president make a, a decent trip to China with his team of, you know, government official, and even he accompanied some independent price guys. I still remember one of the young guys from Spoon TV were on that trip and met with the Chinese government and some company, and they did some walking and did some assessment. And I knew that that price tag was adjusted to a reasonable amount that the government can afford. I don't know the actual amount, but my bigger takeaway from that, when public outcry on the way our government spend the money and the responsible government listing and do some adjustment in listening to public opinions and how people feel about the processes, whether the process will run through the right, because government in acquiring every property and stuff, they get integrity and entity in that place that the PPCT and all these people should be involved. I think that process will work out with the vice president and all necessary agencies were involved and how they adjusted the price. And now you can see the fruit of his labor. Honorable Jeremiah Kwakun make that effort, and the machine is some of them arrive in the country now this weekend. Now we can talk about how can we maintain it and the impact will have on our economy. So it's a step process. Now they adjusted the price. I think people are not complaining too much about the prices. Now, now they shift the goalpost. The opposition and the political commentators shift the goalpost to what will bring job, whether they will be able to maintain it, how long, and the economy, people thinking about bread and butter, what your mission going to do to improve our bread and butter issue. That's another issue to talk about. But at least they certify the fact. I don't see that any political commentator now talking about the price tag. That process was solved. So we can discuss now the maintenance and the impact of the yellow machine. Wow, what are we going to do for our economy? I could rest that you could come up with another question that we can move. How we can discuss the impact and the maintenance of the yellow machine. You muted. Uh,
So, Comrade Jones, here is the other thing, right? We just mentioned that there was some kind of fraudulent act at the initial stage, and that had to be arrested by the government. Now, according to you, that is what a responsive, or responsible government do, right? So look at the gap from 81 to 27, or to 21. From 81 to 21, look at the gap. It's about $60 million that will have been empty in some fraudulent pocket. So this $60 million, the attempt, in law, we also punish people for attempt. You understand? Yeah, they will punish you for attempted murder, even though you didn't murder, but they will punish you for attempted murder. That was an attempted fraud. It was an attempted fraud, and it put a burden on the government, and it made the government name to look bad. A responsible government too should be able to reprimand people who engage in those kinds of practices. So that was one thing. The other thing that people were making noise about was the procurement process. It was the procurement process. Irrespective of whatsoever happened, sometimes the procurement process can be like you advertise this thing, and then Liberians bid for it, international people bid for it also. You understand? And you'll be surprised. Some Liberians are capable of being able to produce those kinds of machines in partnership with other international for the same amount. So the procurement process was one of the issues. When people just designated a particular vendor without necessarily submitting them through a procurement process. But in the procurement process, there is something called single sourcing. And so the government can provide justification to be able to identify this particular vendor and be able to get the items from them. But we all got to respect the procurement process. We all got to respect the procurement process. You understand? So these were some of the issues that came up at the very early stage. And I believe that the noise that was being made across from, entities like Spoon and all, people in other circle, because I remember Musa Belete specifically came out and announced that he purchased some of those machines, and the money that people were mentioning was far too much. So this gave the condition for investigation. But meanwhile, almost everybody, every representative, every senator wanted those machines to come in the country because of the benefit that they would derive from it. So how do you look at that person or the group of people who were involved in almost taking away $60 million from the Liberian people money?
So yeah, you guys are in the legal fees. Say attempted murder is punishable on an hour.
You are muted. You are muted, OJ. You are muted.
I'm muted. You not hear me? You sure? Hello? You muted. You mute.
You are muted.
Really? Why?
All right. The camera is okay, OJ. The camera is okay.
My camera okay?
You are muted. Yeah. Let me see.
I don't know why. You mute me. I don't see. I'm good right now.
Yeah, you are okay now.
I'm okay.
I don't know what is the problem. You are okay.
You did it. You got to control stuff there. Okay, so you're talking about the aspect of punishing people that attempted to commit fraud. Yes, under our law is you can be punished for attempting to commit fraud. Like you say, you went to the maybe the store and you take a counterfeit bill to buy item, and you've been caught. Although you are not successful with a act, you still punishable under the law. So yes, the tricky part of this, but this is It's a process. So in making a bill, because everybody that engaged in making bill for purchasing government and equipment or any item for government, you can come up with the idea and come up with your bill price. And when you put your bid price in, that what we get the representative entity, integrity entity, they will do the investigation. When they do the investigation and they think that somebody else can do it for on a cheaper and a quality side, they will go with that person. So putting it in business people giving it a line, maybe some company that the initial person that were in contact with were not informed, because some people try to get into purchasing stuff. Like, I will give you a typical example. Some people don't know quality purchase of motor vehicle. And some people try to buy cars and go and somebody give them the raw data because they don't have the information, and they will go with some car that not quality,
Yeah.
or they will give them a price that's not quality. So you don't blame, you don't put these people and say, oh, they were trying to rob, because there's no clear evidence. Because you have to be a clear. It's like, if like the counterfeit bill, if you take it to the store and they see you with it, and some people can get free from these cases. They say, I never knew because somebody gave me this money and I thought it was real money, and sometimes the police let them go. Yeah?
Yeah.
So attempt to commit a fraud and on unit, sometimes those cases can be difficult to prove.
But
So it's
here is
it's,
the
it's
thing, OJ. Yeah.
that cost. So in billing process for purchasing procurement process, that people throw around figures. That's why you have the necessary entity to check fact the authenticity of those figures that people throw around. Whether this worth the value, the value of the money worth the value of the purchase that you're trying to make.
But
So that's why
the-
so government took the necessary step
yeah,
for
the case,
for the city.
the case with the yellow machine, was that these people decided to evade the procurement process. And procurement in Liberia, there's a reason why we have the PPCC. When those people went to our guys went to the Accra Comprehensive Peace Conference, they did not only think about ceasing the war, they also thought about addressing those issues that created the war, that caused the war. And one of the issues that they looked at was corruption. And
Yeah.
and one of the areas that they thought corruption was the area of procurement. I know you, I gave you the contract, and I know you, I purchased things from you, and then you gave me kickback. So they wanted to make sure that procurement was secure. Procurement was free from corruption, free from influence. So they set up the Contract and Monopoly Commission, and later they turned it into the Public Procurement Commission. So it was intended that whatsoever you do in government, you pass, once it involves procurement, you pass through the PPCC. So even if OJ is that person who has the knowledge and the skill set to be able to deliver a particular service, and you cannot find anybody around, or the time that you are going to take to find people around, it might be very long, and you don't have all of those time, and you know that OJ has the expertise. You can still go to the PPCC for single sourcing, And if you give your justification, the PPCC can say, oh yes, the justification is sufficient enough, and we grant you a single source. Then you go and get Orlando Jones to come and do the contract. But if people deliberately evade the Public Procurement Commission and the PPCC process, it is a signal that fraud is in the making. Now, all of these things have happened, and there is no way that somebody can debate and say there wasn't any fraud, a fraudulent attempt.
We don't know that yet.
No, we know that if you try to evade, we know that to the extent that some yellow machine even came into the country. So yellow machine even came into the country. It is clear that there was an evasion of the PPCC process. It is clear. It is clear that there was an inflation of the cost of the equipment. There was an inflation. The vice president even had to go all the way to China to make sure that things were under control and that the prices were not inflated. My thing is that somebody somewhere attempted to defraud the government, and as a matter of stamping out corruption, we must be able to bring that person to book, and we must be able to say, you can do these things, but you can bring it as far as to the doorstep of the president. You're in the executive mansion and you are openly attempting to steal from the Liberian government. So these kinds of things we need to put it on the table, as much as we put the yellow machine issue on the benefit of the yellow machines on the table, because people will want to dismiss the cry yesterday as being for nothing. But whereas in reality, the cry that people made yesterday, whether it's on the Spoon Talk Show or on other platform, the cry that people made yesterday brought the president to attention, and the president even designated the second man in command to take charge of that, and we were able to move from 81 million to 21 million. That is a lot of effort, and we have to praise that, as much as we have to still keep our attention on those who attempted the fraud.
Yeah, senior moderator and Professor Gwidi. So, I like to keep my comment in context and not to make too much accusation of people with all sufficient evidence and facts surrounding the initial process. So, accusing somebody of attempting to commit fraud is a criminal offense, and from the state, and it's a difficult thing to say. But everybody is aware of the fact that there was some effort to purchase the yellow machine, and the price that came on, the price tags that came out, the amount was alarming. But to what extent that price tag was negotiated, if any government was involved, if government ever made any initial documentation, or because you said that some yellow machine came in, the government ever made any initial, and what process they passed through, there's no evidence of that. So we don't want to accuse somebody of an executive mansion that the person was directly involved into inflating the price tag of the yellow initial process. The only fact that we get that the number that came up, whether that number was the right number, but the number that came up in the price was alarming. And when that number came up, the executive mansion immediately jumped on it and got the vice president, the second man in the country, on board, and they formed a good team. And now you can see that the country is not talking about the price tag, because looking at the number of the pieces of yellow machine they're bringing in, considering the price tag, it seems to be, the value to money were well negotiated. So it's not an issue. So I don't want people to focus on the somebody attempted to commit fraud and stuff, but the process was corrected. Yeah, the corrected action plan was taken into consideration. So usually government is not about punitive most of the time in the administrative cycle. And most of the time, for moving government process to be smooth and workable, you have to also have your strategic plan to put in corrective action plan. If you see that you put up some decision and some information coming out from your office and public outcry, you go back on the drawing board and put some correctional action plan to move the process to see that you can get some favorable input or feedback from public. And I think that what the government did, that what responsible government will always do. But now you are crying now. Somebody was attempting to commit fraud should be punished. We don't get that fact yet because we don't know how. Some people try to do some genuine and thing to help government to move the process. And sometimes they get overzealous or doing something, and sometimes they make wrong decision in administration. Those people can be checkmate, and you correct them, and they use the right process. Because a lot of people that get in government, some people are novice, some people are new, don't know the process. That some of the process are new to them. They're getting government into big contract and concession agreement, need the legislature involved, need an integrity institution like the PPCP involved. Some people are new. They are advisor to the president. Maybe the idea came from her. So maybe she was running with the idea and everybody think that she wanted. Maybe she has a genuine interest to help the arrest agenda. So I don't think the president office knew that this person was really wanted to commit fraud to the government. Maybe Joseph Baga would take some action if you think the person was genuinely trying to do that. But I think for my own, knowing the person was genuinely trying to help the government to move the whole agenda ahead. So I could tell you that one of the issues that people were talking about in more recent time, and the president admitted, and you remember the 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 facility that the government were in the news that were being in FOIA, and people claim that the CDC claimed that the president was being executive mansion or his personal home in FOIA. Eh? And it was discussed all along, and the government messaging was not aligning with what people were getting. So people were going by the rumors that the home that were being in FOIA was for the president. And they were spending, there were a lot of numbers came up. Some people said 10 million, 20 million they were using that. And the one time I listened to the information and Deputy Information for Public Service, Daniel Samuel, said that it was sponsored by a mineral union. That the message was not lying. So what happened? The president was not informed. I think the president was not informed with all of the information that was going out to the public. But what happened in the annual message, the president addressed that concern that the government was the one sponsoring that, and that facility will be for the Banner Peace Conference. The government is undertaking it, and the press tag was announced. I think was 5 million. Now that case was put into rest, but they get some overzealous government official sometimes try to do things generally in the interest of the government and don't follow the work process. And that's why in government people will make some error, and in the annual message a lot of error job number came up, they couldn't get the data and a lot of things came out, and there will always be corrective action plan to correct some of this issue that people that knew in government who is over zealous and come up with statement before crossing the T and dotting the I before they let it out to the public. So I don't want us to go that route, punishing somebody for committing fraud, although the crime was not committed. And today we're happy the machine is in the country. Eh? So we got to move forward. Not everything will go back to punish people.
No, so let us be very clear that some of the noise that people made about the yellow machine, they were valid noise, because at least,
That's a valid noise.
yes, because at least we were able to save $60 million or so. The yellow machine, the yellow machines, the F moving equipments are already in the country, and
That
they
thing
are
was
they are for our benefit and our use.
so they focus on the benefit
Yeah,
now.
and
And
so the new focus and direction, even though I don't agree with Orlando Jones that there should be no investigation on what went wrong, what took the yellow machine to 81 million, and whether somebody was attempting to defraud the government, there should be an investigation, so to speak. But the focus now should be on the machine. It's in the country. We have the equipments in the country, even though they have not brought all of them, but they're in the country. We have a particular agency or an ad hoc committee that has been set up to particularly administer the operation of those equipments. How do we see these equipments being operated in our country? What is the best approach we can use to get this equipment operational?
yeah, just for offloading the equipment, I was a little bit impressed that it was set up in the way that I saw flags of different country logos on the equipment. So I know the government already has some thought how the equipment will be, be and transported to the very leeward country, because you could see the southeastern flag and country like Grand Cru, Sando, River Cell, and Maryland. You see the flag on the different F moving machine. So I know that some structures being put into place. That's why I went back to and before the war. Before the war, normal day. We call it normal day in
Yeah,
Liberia. I know we get some people just born, during the war, 1990, 1991. We get a lot of kids. They never saw, normal day, no electricity, never play on the rain, the tunnel, this type of enjoyment days, normal days. And our country was, you know, in such a way that electricity was all over. People were over to come from the Leeward country to spend vacation with a family and get back on time. Bomb mines were booming, and Lanco were booming, and Lanco Lippe, all these places, and Ashen. So those places were not accessible again. So government is being able to acquire the machine right now, and how they're going to improve the farm to market roads are one of the major things. There are a lot of places in the Leeward County that produce food, and farmers are over to get it on the market on time, and because storage issues and because the time it takes to get to the market, most of the time the produce are get damaged, and this F moving machine in connection with Ministry of Agriculture and other rural and development and agencies, and all of the agencies that are involved in Leeward County should be involved, in how strategically they can use the machine for the benefit of the people in the Leeward area. Although you can see that a lot of news area being open in Monrovia, connecting different and local community. I was very impressed in more recent time that the SKD Boulevard, that's an island right there. You could see it's a Peace Island behind the how they call the ministerial complex. I know that those places are connected, and just a piece of, I don't know, a lake or a pool that was just separating the. So this equipment can be used, most of the community that and open this area that will reduce traffic congestion in those areas of Morovia, like the Douala area, and there's a lot of roads that you can connect and St. Paul Bridge to Nukutan. There's a lot of areas that and we'll have this equipment around, and a lot of people can be put uh, uh, into in the workforce because there are a lot of people graduating from MVTCs and other trade schools and things that, and they are not being put into work, their skills are not being. So you could hire a lot of young people, the disadvantaged youth and other people, so roads would be one of the big things that people will be, because we got 285 equipment in the country. We're going to open up in all the Libra country and use people in the country too. So we want to decentralize it, and people from the Libra country can get some jobs and some youth, because our country is highly youth based, and more than half of our population are youth, and most of them is unemployed. So they
So
need to,
yeah, so
yeah.
we will have to pay a little keen attention to how the committee that has been set up, how that new agency that has been set up for the management of those yellow machines, how they are going to decentralize, because everyone knows that. Let me play Barney Samoka a little bit, and so we can follow some of the things that he said. Or let me
1
play
minute. So
Barney
we playing
Samoka. Okay.
the. Robert.
Barney Samokai. Where is the clip? Yes, Barney Samokai is the head of the committee, or that agency that the president set up to manage the yellow machines and the earth moving equipments. And I think that is a very good step. That's a very good step. So let's listen to Barney Samokai.
One set is 19 pieces. So 4 of those condos will have 38. And that includes, one set is 19 pieces. 4 of those condos will have 38. And that includes Nimba, Bong, Grand Bassa, and Lufa. They will have 2 sets each. Then all of the other counties will have 1 set each. And that 1 set is basically adequate to support the Ministry of Public Works in the work that they're doing. And so I think this is very important for our country, that we need to invest in the operation of these machines, and at the same time to invest in the maintenance of the machines. Because if we just pack the machines, which the government has no intention to do, is to make sure that we have machine efficiently utilized. So for now, the machine will be hooked. 1 set is 19 pieces. So 4 of those condos will have 38. And that includes Nimba, Bong, Grand Bassa, and Lufa. They will have 2 sets each. Then all of the other counties will have 1 set each. And that 1 set is basically adequate to support the Ministry of Public Works in the work that they're doing. And so I think this is very important for our country, that we need to invest in the operation of these machines, and at the same time to invest in the maintenance of the machines. Because if we just pack the machines, which the government has no intention to do, is to make sure that we have the machine efficiently utilized. So for now, the machine will be hooked.
So here is the head of the administrative structure that's supposed to manage the yellow machines. If you listen to him, It's almost like the yellow machines are going to be, operated by Popular Works. They're going to be operated by Popular Works. And he was just talking about the distribution. 19 of those machines, those equipment, 19 of them goes to a particular county. He made exception of 4 counties that are going to have 38 each. That Bong, Lofa, Grand Bassa, and Nimba. But the other rest of the counties are going to have 19 of those equipment each. So that is the first thing that we know about how the distribution of the machine is going to look like, and how the operation of the machines are going to look like too. So Popular Works is going to operate those machines, and then the distribution will be 19 to each county, with the exception of the 4 counties, Bong, Lofa, Nimba, and Grand Bassa, that would take 38 each. How do you see that in the first place?
Before the mission arrives, they already set out a committee and they have a plan what they're going to do, the plan of action, right? How they're going to maintain the machine and how it won't be distributed, and how the machine will be right away put into action, spring into action right away. Because currently, the public work ministry is undertaking a lot of road projects, and in the annual message from the president, they listed, they had a report of the public work roads that they undertaking in Vera County, and this machine would just buttress the effort and road maintenance. So so maintenance. He talked about maintenance. That's one thing he stressed on. And you also don't want a machine to be idle, because every moving equipment have to be busy. If you don't get them sitting down and get rusted, because most of the equipment parked outdoor, get rusted, and then maintenance will be a challenge. So I think Brandon Samaka and his committee already have sprung into action. They know the plan, and I think, because if they fail on the promises, and people will judge them, because people are already making comment about maintenance, because in the past, and some of the people have brought air moving equipment before some other company and broke down on the road because of poor maintenance. Another aspect, again, training young people and to be able to operate the machine. Yeah, because Liberia we are in short supply of technocrat, in terms of people with technical skills in operating a lot of machine. Yep, because I was surprised. I know the last time I make a trip to the country, and I went to Nimat. I saw a lot of foreigners in Nimat, and these guys from some part of Europe, and I was asking them what they were doing in Nimat, because we're lodging at the Jackie Lodge, and we were hanging up, and I asked them what you do for, and because the strange part of the country, we see a lot of foreigner and mostly European, and they were telling me they operate some machine, like I think they were working in what's the mining company in Nima, I forget the name, and these guys are operating those machines. So I was thinking, I said, there's no
ArcelorMittal?
ArcelorMittal. I start thinking, how long has ArcelorMittal been in this country that nobody had not been trained, and they get so many foreigners here working in European, working operating the machine. There's no plan or action that would train all of Liberians to occupy this job, and send them, because ArcelorMittal being in the country for more than 12 years now. There should be more Liberians involved in the technical aspect of running the machines. As you think about, I know But and I was asking them, they said they run this machine. And so one of the things I know that they get a lot of different. I hope we will not bring Chinese to run that. They should just bring Chinese to train those people and how to maintain the machine. So the 185 pieces of yellow machine, we need to train about 500 mechanics and maintenance people who are up to date. Because one of the aspects I think Liberians we were lacking, and contemporary tools for mechanics and other fields we are lacking, because most of the thing is computer based. Even the new cars they're making 2026 and anything, and one of our deficiencies in Liberia is always computer thing. Yeah, I know when you carry your modern car to Liberia and something wrong with it, most of the things are run by sensor and computer thing. You carry to some of the shop that we still get. I don't want to say anything about Mandingo people. We still get most of the guys that are doing mechanic down there that are all not letter. So something wrong with it about computer. You need to read the code to know what exactly wrong with it and figure out what wrong with it, and you go and mess with it. That machine will be.
But you scared to talk about Mandingo people. Men will attack you.
Nothing against Mandingo people. Most of the people that do my job in our country that, and when I was there and every time, it's always this Mandingo people adventures in the field. And most of them are not letters. They learn the job by apprenticeship. So there's good time that those same skills people and the people that go through the requisite vocational training thing that they can send them for a quick 6-month training that could learn all the
so let me say, why people were making noise on this yellow machine issue. There are some people, right? They never see anything really wrong, right? And those people are mainly business people. Mm-hmm. When people making noise about something, instead of, they only try to identify the problem. Or people making noise about something, they identify the problem. When they find that problem, the next thing they want to do is to find solution, right? The next thing they want to do is to find solution. I will show you one of such person in Liberia right now who is taking advantage of that yellow machine, the yellow machine pronouncement. So that guy was prospective. He said, why the people making noise? I think the yellow machines are going to come anyway because it's the president that made the statement, and it's a policy decision, and the president is not going to roll back. And there will be political, back and forth. But once the president says he wants to get that done, he's going to stick on it. And if he fails, then there will be mockery. So in any case, the president will want to succeed. So what the guy did. Let me play this clip. So he runs an entity called For Life Zone, right? It's a driving school. So listen to him.
Okay, folks, I'm here again, and these are the machines I'm here to get for my school. Like I said, For Life is the best vocational school in Liberia. So I'm here to do the final inspection on these machines. I'm here actually to get 4F moving machine, because I noticed that many young people don't know how to move this thing except foreigner. And then the only way you can learn in Liberia is you become carbon for 12 years. And after 12 years now, you can be down and you now work again. So in For Life, you're going to learn it for just 3 months. So this is the first machine we're going to get, but actually I prefer the cat burn, and I'm going to get one of this, and then the next thing is the excavator. So I'm going to get one of these two for our students to learn. Remember, the president paraded these machines within the country, and we need Liberians to do them. So I intend to get the wheel loader, and as you can see, we're doing our best selection, different tons for the students. So we want our students, when you learn on these machines, automatically any job will be able to take you. That's what we want. So I'm in view them and going to start them myself and test it well. That will be good for the job market. All you can do right now is to rush to For Life Zone, get the information sheet. We are still taking students, and this machine are going to come along with them, right? intensive practical training. That's what we want. So for life, we refuse to be limited.
So
Brilliant.
you watch what he said. He said
Brilliant.
some of those machines were displayed by the president, right? He saw some of those machines. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
But he can only teach, he can only train by theory, right?
Yeah.
So he's forced to be able to bring in some of those machines. Whatsoever it is, if he didn't have the money physically, but he has a very good proposal. He has a very good proposal. A very good proposal that he can take to any kind of investor, and the investor will be willing to provide the money immediately.
Yeah, for his school.
Yeah, because the prospect is there. You understand? So there are people who are business minded, who are in the private sector, who are
Yeah.
thinking, right? And they make some of these moves. Now, if you're asking for manpower to be able to man those machines, the guy gave the length of time that people can do the training. So by this time, that guy has already put out a number of his trainees with certificates that can operate those machines.
Yep.
No matter how minimum, but that is it. They can have supervisors on those machines that are skilled and have been doing it for a very long time. You understand? But to be able to apply on the market, labor power that will be able to man those machines, this guy can take care of that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Brilliant idea. That guy is a brilliant guy. He's thinking forward. So that's why I was talking about computer literacy, because most modern equipment is all part of that. This time it's not too much what shipping gears and things. Most of them is just button. I've sit in some modern machine. I just look at them, around, went to one time I was visiting where they call Flipland, and I was just looking at they call it the Bobcat. There's a little small machine called the Bobcat. That's a yellow machine called the Bobcat. And I was, in Flipland, I was looking at it, and I saw a lot of button, and they had a, screen and stuff like that, and you need up-to-date education to run this machine. Reading, you got to read and write, and most of them is computer skills thing. And most of this new, if something wrong with the machine, it's just going to show on the dashboard. You should be able to read the manual and operate. It's not 3 months and 6 month training. It's possible for anybody to run the machine. Yeah,
So
anybody from feedback can get to.
Yeah. So like this right now, I don't know whether he's also including in his program, because he's running a driving school. I don't know whether he's including in his program maintenance. And,
Yeah, that's the aspect of it.
The mechanical aspect of it, right?
Yeah,
because we need to have people who are able to handle the repairs of those equipments.
At University of Liberia, I can remember that we got civil engineering, we get mining engineer. When I was there, I never heard about mechanical engineer. Because I remember I would go and fix a map. I wanted to do civil engineer, but I never heard about mechanical engineer. Yeah. That's another use.
Right now, if you do engineering at the university, you gotta be a politician. You do engineering, but you still gotta go on Facebook and either throw talk on CDC, then the Unity Party people happy, or you are sedition, you throw talk on the Unity Party people, then the CDC people happy.
Yeah.
Then when it comes to distributing job now, they either take you, if Unity Party wins, then they take you. Though you did Engineering, civil engineering, they don't care. They can put you
Mhm.
anywhere. They don't care about your education. It doesn't matter.
But
But
MVTC, the
this,
technical school,
this is where MVTC supposed to be utilized. MVTC is supposed to be utilized in making sure that they provide training, the necessary training that will supply the market with the demand for a service. There is a huge demand created by the presence of those earth moving equipment. There's a huge demand for service created by that. And that service has to be provided by the private sector. It has to be provided by the private sector. I do not believe in the public sector very much in terms of maintenance and management.
yeah, government
You
cannot do
don't
it
have
all.
you don't
That's
have
how
that you don't have that competence. The way the private sector will be able to provide supervision and management and maintenance, the public sector doesn't do it that way. Most of the people in the public sector, they're not too accountable, right? They're not too accountable. You imagine a doctor will go to work, a medical doctor will go to work and supposed to stay there for 8 hours, but the doctor will only work for 2 hours and he's out. But whether you work for 8 hours or you work for 2 hours, you get the same pay. So the public sector I don't really go with the public sector in terms of managing these things too much. I go with the private sector. And if I look at the private sector, I think it makes sense for us to, through these means, produce more millionaires in our country. We need to produce more millionaires in our country. There could be millionaires coming from the maintenance of those machines. There could be millionaires coming from
training, training,
training.
training
Yes.
workers.
Like for this guy now, he's definitely going to become a millionaire very soon, because of the number of people that are going to pass through his training program. And he will scale the program, by looking at other areas that he can provide training is so government ought to support the private sector so that we grow more millionaires. And the reason why I say so is that if you look at Musa Belete and what he's doing, just because he's a millionaire, he's a Liberian millionaire, and he has clean millions, so he's not hiding his money, so he's able to spend it whatsoever way he wants to spend it. We need more
That's
people.
that statement is on a question. What a clean million or not is still
He's
on a
a
question.
clean million. Everybody knows Musa Belete is a businessman.
Yeah,
Clean
everybody knows.
million.
But what a million
Yes.
is
Clean million. Clean millions are always in the Liberian banks. The fraudulent millions, they get swept away. Sometimes the man who got a million, he's hiding it to another person place, and that person go and kill him and take the million. I had the country money lost all the time. We need more clean millionaires who will put the money in the banks. For me, I will opt for private Liberian companies to manage those yellow machines rather than the public works ministry.
yeah,
But
no, no.
that is another discussion.
Yeah, it's another discussion. Liberian government, prioritizing some because you don't want to make government bureaucracy very large because as you continue to increase the size of government employee, the maintenance of staff and other things, then the government will be very large. If the maintenance aspect be there by private entity and they get a right professional to do it, and you can prioritize that. Like in the federal government in the U.S., they get what they call independent contractors, and most of the even in the military, in the government, most of the American military, most of the projects because they take care of huge and infrastructure projects around the country, roads and things. These are private companies that built in independent contractors or military companies are building for those the huge, but they got the necessary. Remember that the group that went Liberia called PAE, they are all
PAE.
all ex, Liberian military and U.S. military group that went there were running that PAE. They are subcontracted by American government all around the world to work for or take projects America have in underdeveloped countries or third world countries. So like a Liberian can come up with some brilliant guys who want to maintain the machine and or to train people to operate a machine, and they have the capacity to do it. That the Liberian government also does those
Yeah,
jobs.
because if
And
they did it
let
all the way, if they did it all the way around, Public Works is going to be like the transport ministry. Transport ministry at some point when they go on the street. Liberia is the only country that using that colonial. Every year, the people from transport ministry can go on the street to go and
inspect your travel
inspect
record.
your driver,
Registration.
license, the registration, and all the things. Right? They can't sit down to their decks and be able to know who registration expire or not. They have to go on the street. So here is it. The transport ministry will have to hire additional men to go on the street. But after that period, transport ministry practically has no use for those people. But meanwhile, they are on government payroll and they are receiving money free. So such can happen to the Public Works ministry, right? You hire a huge number of people on the Public Works ministry payroll operating the yellow machine in the various counties. If those yellow machines are no more, those people still remain with Public Works. We're not expecting that the yellow machines will be no more, but the best approach in my view is to make sure that there are private companies that partner with Public Works who take charge of those employees and pay them for the service that they deliver with respect to the use of the yellow machines.
People get seasonal and temporary job. Public Works can create a seasonal.
Yeah, they can do that, and it can be created. It can be created under that agency and not directly attached to Public Works.
I think I would go with the route of outsourcing it to a private agency to run it. But if they want to run it, they can create some of the position to run those machine seasonal and temporary employment.
Because here is another thing that saw me, OJ. Somebody was suggesting that those machines are not only for clearing roads. You understand? They can impact the arrest agenda in terms of agriculture, right?
Yeah.
Agriculture involve clearing people farmland. So these yellow machines can be out for rent. Like if a private individual wants his farmland to be clear, it is in the best interest of the arrest agenda so that the yellow machine can also be used to help that private individual clear his farmland for fees.
Yeah.
Yes, for fees. But government entity might not want to engage in that, right? They might not want to engage in that. And so it makes sense for the machines to be in the hands of private companies that will want to engage in that along with the government entity so that they can compensate for the maintenance and of those machines and compensate also for the repurchase of new machines.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you everything that you said. But if the government think that their capacity to run the operation of the machine in maintenance and training workforce, if they want to prioritize it, that's a brilliant idea too. Because you were just playing the video of a guy who who got a brilliant idea and is thinking forward, and he's, so we're just talking about MVTC. How do we know that we have people being trained in mechanic or F moving machine? We don't know that. There's a lot of our, based on our education system, after the war, we have a huge brain drain in our in our Liberian society. People are not learning to up to date, and information. The issue of AI and everything that coming into place, and a lot of things that, you know, in the global world, things is moving very fast in terms of how equipment are being used, and when people need to update their education, is important. So I will agree with you that those that have the capacity to do it, you do it. But I know they're coming from China, and one of the aspects I know that China, for the past year, have been a good partner with the government, and they are sending a lot of Liberian students to China to learn electrical engineer and mechanical engineer and stuff. I know the government was involved from Ellington. I know a couple of the comrades. I still remember one of the young comrades I met in Buchanan. Yeah, and so one, you sort of know one so what's his
Yeah,
first name? So he's an electrical engineer. I met him
yeah,
there.
Mohammed So.
Mom is so running the in Buchanan, or trying to install electricity in Buchanan as a rural
Yeah,
electrification project. So the government can still negotiate with China. Quick training, they can either bring the trainer in trainer to trainer, and they get like train the trainer and the trainer train another group, and it works. That's a quick impact project. Yeah, or you send a group of people, a few guys to land, and they come and train people. Go and train a trainer. You know. So it works.
yeah.
Or they can bring but I don't want to see a huge group of
Or,
Chinese people
or
in the
they
country
can even put
running.
up bid. They can even put up OJ for the servicing and maintenance of those equipment, and they can limit the bid to Liberian companies. So you have your garage. If you are able to guarantee that you can service and maintain those equipment, government can give you the contract.
No, really, that's the first thing you need to investigate. I'm 100% sure there's no company in Liberia who is sophisticated enough to run currently now to run those machines.
You can be 100% sure. You
I'm
know,
I'm sure. I'm
OJ,
sure.
OJ, OJ,
Let
Orlando
me get
Jones.
there. Let me lay on this concept, man.
Yeah, you can be
I'm
100%
all right.
sure.
I'm very sure of that, because you're talking about yellow machine, F moving machine.
Yeah,
I talk about 2021, 2022 car
yeah.
that people in the country. And when
Mhm.
something wrong with cars, you take them to this. One of my friends had an Acura. He took an Acura, well, 2022, 2023 Acura. Something ran on the dashboard or something, and they couldn't figure out how to. Some dealership, the guys don't have the right equipment and computer software to figure out what exactly happened to the car. And that sign was still on. I think with the gas mileage stuff, the gas, when the sign can come on the dashboard and how to move in it. So the guy couldn't figure out if his temp is low or his tank is empty because it showed on the dashboard. The guy couldn't fix that problem. So that's simple problem. These are simple
It
problems.
was a simple problem if you
Oh,
just
my brother. So
yeah.
I thought the molding machine, F machine, I know they get some computer software, and most of them they run by some computer chips. Most of the equipment and moving F equipment
Let
is
me
something wrong. One of the chip, somebody will not be able to fix it.
let me tell you
Someone out of the
what can happen, right?
yeah.
You see all of those contracts that people give out, like uh or the contract that people usually talk about that I don't know, they call it LTM.
Mhm.
The group that that does inspection. The group that
Closing,
does
we're closing 9:30.
yeah. The group that does inspection, right? I think they call it LTM or something like that. But almost all of those contracts that people give out to foreigners, right? Liberians are capable of doing them. Let me tell you how. If you put up a bid, a Liberian company can be able to respond to that bid. In terms of the technical know-how, if they don't have people on the ground, they can make part of their team. They can make people experts out of the country to form part of their team. They know how to bring those people. So to just say outrightly that Liberian company is incapable or they don't have the capacity is not true altogether, because if the capacity is in Ivory Coast, and I know people who are in Ivory Coast can do it, I hire 1 or 2 persons. That's part of my company. And once they are working with my company, they obviously will be able to train the rest of the other Liberians that are associated with them. So the biggest thing is for the company to be able to give a guarantee that they will be able to provide the service. And through the procurement process, there's a way that they can be able to assess what the technical capacity of those institutions are, to be able to say, yes, we clear them and they are able to provide the service. So, the benefit of the doubt, my whole focus is, how do we create more millionaires in Liberia so more money can be in the Liberian banks, so people like us can go and borrow money from those millionaire money deposited in the bank and do our little projects.
So I think the committee, I think one of the and we just about putting into place, one of the consideration I know was on maintenance, because you see Brownie Summer car were quick to point out on maintenance. And usually people sell you equipment, even you buy a motor vehicle, will get you playing how to maintain those cars, especially modern cars. And I know they're going to send people to follow up to train people how to use the equipment and how to maintain them for a period of time. So that's the idea of a trainer. The trainer come and train another trainer, so that you can spend too much resources sending a huge amount of people to train, and you can train the smarter Liberian who ready. But in terms of company owning the training process, it will take a process for Liberian company to get into those roles. We all want Liberian millionaire, but you need capable company to maintain it, because they have to work with the Chinese company that they bought the equipment for, because every company has their own specimen and specification of how to maintain the equipment. So the same people that build this thing, because every Caterpillar company and other yellow machine company is not the same. There are different software people use to build, and you need to get the engineer who or the scientist or engineer that put this software together to build this equipment. They have to come and train your people, because I'm telling you, in modern, we in this country, every time you go, the guys that work to the dealership, they update their stuff every day. They got to go to the different trainings to update, of different software, how to run, how your car runs. So it's the same way. So the Liberian company that you're talking about, they need to get into in connection with the company that bought the yellow machine from, for them to get the right, specialist who build this machine and how to maintain them before they can form a company. Because you don't want some wishy-washy company maintaining your thing, and they just start spoiling the machine more when something wrong with it. They put all kind of engine oil in it and it start getting rusted. Yeah.
Yes. So I mean,
Yeah.
time is fast spent. Comrade
Wrap
Jones,
up, man.
you can just wrap up. This was a very interesting discussion. I think when we come back, we will we'll have to delve more into the maintenance, or discussion and of these yellow machines. So you can just wrap up.
Yeah, thank you, senior moderator, man, Professor B. Harold, for inviting me on the Kaki Dialogue, and we were deeper into the the air moving equipment that arrived in Liberia, and uh, you know, purchased by the Liberian government, and we're discussing the benefit, if it will bring job to the economy or not, and we also dive into and the maintenance aspect of it, and we'll also dive into and other Liberians who have some brilliant idea how to maintain it and how to train people to use the equipment if you're going to create job. And on the flip side of it, we'll also talk about other politicians, what are they being genuine about criticizing the move of the government, and if the yellow machine will solve the issue of bread and butter. And you senior moderator, you talk about other aspects that will help the economy. You talk about it's connected to agriculture and other things that we being used, and we also play some videos about in committee headed by Bernie Samaka and the plan and the distribution of the machine into various counties, and on how many each county going to possess at the time. So it was a brilliant discussion, and we can dig deeper maybe in the next section about maintenance and the other aspects, and maybe give people up to date, because if you bring the machine, we want to see it into work, not parking one place. So thank you. We can maybe have a next section on 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 the development of the machine and how they make an impact on the economy maybe next week or so.
Yes, thank you, Orlando Jones, and thank you to our viewers. This has been a very interesting discussion. We hope next time you will be ready to make some contribution to the discussion as we move on. It has been a wonderful, wonderful time. In every circumstances, in any case, Liberia wins. Those who offer rational criticism when this proposal about the yellow machines came about. Those who offer rational criticism, they won, because had it not been their intervention, we probably might have been extorted out of $81 million. But the government has been able to discuss and reduce the bargain and reduce the cost to 21 or 25, 21 to 25 million dollars thereabout. So we all won in the process, and the next thing that we have to make our contribution on is how do we ensure that this machine benefit the Liberian people to the maximum. So we can discuss from the management of the machine to the maintenance of those machines, how this machine produce positive externalities in terms of creating jobs for our people who are involved with mechanic work, our mechanical engineers, how the machines presence can create job for them, how the machine presence can create job for those who are training our drivers, our heavy duty drivers, and how the machine presence can also help our people clear their farmland with much efficiency. So there are many things that are associated with the presence of the yellow machine in the country, and we should be able to bring all of our ideas to, because there are risk factor. We do not know government to be able to manage these kinds of equipment very well. So for us to be able to benefit the maximum, we must all make our contribution as much as we did when the yellow machine was first announced. So thank you to our viewers for viewing. We hope that you turn in tomorrow for another edition of the Vote 24 TV Kakis Dialogue. It has been a wonderful time talking with you. Thank you. Bye-bye.